Welcome to another SnowRunner video. In this one, this is part 2 of opening up the tunnel that goes from one map to another. In the last one we delivered some drilling equipment, and in this one to the other entrance on the other map we have to deliver this construction rig for the completion of the opening of the tunnel. Bit of a new truck here. In this one I'm using the Plaid 450, much larger than a lot of the other trucks I've been using to date. I just thought I'd wanted something a bit bigger, especially in the snow, just to get this job done. So we've just hitched up the trailer and heading off to our destination. Not a lot of space here considering the size of the trailer, but we do our best. I often say during doing these videos, you appreciate truck drivers a lot more when you realise the constraints they have as far as space and turning circles go. Playing this game really makes you a lot more aware of that. You can tell the size of this truck by how small the driver looks in sitting there as compared to the previous trucks I've been using. There's definitely a few challenging areas in this one. It did go pretty smoothly though. A number of small trees were sacrificed for this delivery. As you can see by some of the terrain and some of the turns, it's not really ideal for trying to get a rig of this size across, but we just take it easy and deal with it as best we can. Sometimes you just have to close your eyes and haul away and hope you come out the other side. Very slow going in low range, as you would imagine. Quick check of the map to make sure I'm headed the right direction. With some of these obstacles, you really do have to take very wide turning circles. To allow for what's being towed behind you. Only just made that. Getting stuck on a log. Sometimes you can just drive over them, other times they give you a bit of grief. I think in this one I used a bit of assistance from a winch. Just to get me over that. Once again, driving as close as I can to that rock wall to get the rig up on that ledge. So here we are at the other tunnel that's already open. As we progress over to the other map, which in this case is the original map. Just doing a quick inspection of the truck and trailer, make sure everything's okay. Quickly scope out where I have to go. As you can see with this one, I have to completely, or virtually completely, transverse the whole map, so a fair distance to travel. Probably in relative terms it's not really that far, but at the pace that we have to go to and terrain ahead of us, it does take a while. This truck has permanent diff locks, so diff locks are in all the time. It does have optional all-wheel drive, which you can turn off and on, not that you'd want to turn it off. This truck also is a mod truck from the modification menu. Which is mainly just because the modified trucks have that autonomous winch, so that even if the truck goes over, the winch will still work from battery power. And also a lot of mod trucks quite often have a better fuel capacity. That was a bit sketchy. Quite a bit of a lean on the trailer then. Coming up to another wooden bridge. One would definitely have to question what the load rating is on this bridge, but we get across it. Just taking it slow. An abandoned vehicle there, which will no doubt come up in a task in the future that I'll pick up with a tilt tray and deliver to where it has to go. Here we are back on the ice. Over this frozen river or stream. Lucky enough, it's fairly solid. And we get to this. You can only imagine my thoughts after travelling to finally get to see this in front of me. Checking to see if there is an alternative route. But no. There probably would be an alternative route, but I would have to go right back to the tunnel entrance where I came in and go a completely different way, which in this case is not an option. So what I need to do here is get my truck out wide on that snow, as close to those trees as possible, to get better entrance onto this S-bend. The S-bend here, or this bend, is a lot worse than where I will exit, so if I can go out as wide as possible. Trying to reverse this trailer, it just didn't want to play the game. A slight bit of damage there as I hit that tree. I just want to get this truck straightened up. as well as possible so that I can reverse that trailer straight back and get a lot better entrance into that bend. Look out on the ice, which thankfully is not giving way. So here I'll go as high up on this bank as possible. And that tree's just not going to budge, unfortunately. To go around it. Here we just have to hope for the best and drag that sucker through. But as you can tell, when you look at a map and just see the shapes of tracks or roads, you do assume that it's flat terrain. You couldn't imagine this type of scenario greeting you when you got there. Here I am trying to probably not technically accurate, but once again it gets the job done. Small areas like that we just went through also gives you an indication of where you can have problems with fuel, because doing a lot of that backwards and forwards and reversing and trying to winch into different positions all uses fuel. So sometimes while you might think you have enough fuel to go from point A to point B, if you have something like that happen, that drastically changes your fuel situation. But unfortunately, until you get to where some of these situations are, you just don't know what's ahead of you. Quick check. Still a little ways to go. As you can see there, that completely uneven terrain. Sometimes I think they are specifically put there just to cause you grief. but it keeps you on your toes, and like most things, it's all about problem solving. Always checking that map. I do think it's quite rewarding. I like these larger loads or these big trailers. They definitely present a whole different sort of scenarios and issues when it comes to transporting them anywhere. Here we are back on a river across the ice, which does not look good. I can't see any displayed track on the map through there, so we just have to drive where it looks as solid as possible. These larger trucks, even though you would think it's a heavier truck, so it would be a bit harder in these areas, they have so much more power and torque, and also with the even with the wheels and tires. With a large truck you have much larger diameter wheels, so it gives you a lot more drive out of bad situations, a lot more grip on these problem areas as compared to the smaller trucks with the appropriate size wheels. Just coming up to a bridge construction area. Not too far to go now. As I said, just taking it easy. Apart from driving into a bridge pillar. Luckily not too much damage. Some more S-bends just to spice things up. At least it was nowhere near as bad as the last one. Make sure I'm on the right track. Just about there now. this one was quite a fun, challenging mission actually. These large construction rigs are quite predominant across all the various seasons of SnowRunner. Anyone who's played will definitely come across these before and had to shift them from place to place. Coming up to the drop off now. Pretty soon it'll magically disappear as it's delivered. And there we go. Now that gateway, that tunnel is now open and I can use it to go from one map to the other. So essentially for tasks, future tasks, it'll make it just that much easier than having another optional route to go between maps. Quickly go over to the other map just to make sure it's working, and it is. So that's another task ticked off. Gateway opened. Thankfully there's a cafe just there, so it's time to pull up for a nice coffee and slice of cake. And that's it, job's done. Thanks everyone for joining me, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.